Take a look at this great special event. Street Soldiers is taking over Brooklyn Borough Hall for the Push for Peace. The pre-show event featured DJ Michael Medium, refreshments, and even video gaming with a champion known as Hip Hop Gamer.
It's really fun and nice.
While the crowd enjoyed the music, I caught up with some of the celebrities on the red carpet.
This is way better than being at the Grammys or the American Music Awards and any of that stuff.
That's a lot for you to say.
No, it's real, because this is what it's about. I mean, our culture, hip-hop, was about making change in the streets to make it better for everybody.
What made you want to come out here today and support the community?
Man, because I'm all about that. I'm from the community, being born in Brooklyn, raised in Queens, being a college graduate from music education. It's very important.
Youth groups came out to Brooklyn Borough Hall to take in lessons learned and advice from our diverse panel, including Hot 97's own DJ Enuff.
There's jobs for everybody in hip hop, you know, so there's journalism, there's radio, there's, you know, you can actually perform, there's engineers, there's camera guys, like, there's production.
What an amazing crowd we have here for the Push for Peace, all celebrating hip-hop. Now let's take it to our panel. We got Buddha the Future, producer, worked with many of the top groups. Soumya Krishnamurthy, AKA Soumya K on social media, our pop culture expert and writer. The one and only DMC, who's working on a new album. He's always working on something. I got like 3 pages on you of what you're up to right now. It's crazy. That would be a whole show in and of itself. The comic books, the book that we interviewed you for Fox 5 yes. And for Street Soldiers, so many things, but congratulations and real honored to have you with us. We're real excited. Thank you. And you know the head of the heavy hitters, the one and only DJ Enuff. You hear him pretty much all the time on Hot 97, every day, Newark 2, all the other times, special mixes, all over TV, all over social media, all over everywhere, like that. Just doing it, making it happen, heavy hitter style.
That's right.
Running it, running it. All right, also with us is Jazzie Belle, and Jazzie is a model. She also has a podcast that is getting a lot of traction, a lot of attention, because it's focusing on something that a lot of us feel needs more attention, women in hip hop. So I recommend you check out her podcast, Women in Hip Hop. Jazzie, great to have you with us. We appreciate it. And also with us, Brooklyn's own, the one and only Fresher. Whoa, 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 wait a minute, okay? Fresher has a habit. I'm gonna spill a little game here, a little inside dirt. He's from Brooklyn. He has a thing for kids that are going through really tough times. So Fresher, this holiday season, dressed up as Santa Claus.
Oh wow! Oh, that's cool.
No.
And then you know. But Santa needed presents, so he called Street Soldiers. So we combined our resources and we made it happen, made a lot of kids happy in East New York. So that was an awesome thing. So everyone up here on this panel has done something in connection with the community. That's why I'm really excited about this. So I want to start with you, DMC. When you look at where hip hop is right now, what do you see going on?
So now that hip hop is this widely received, I think it's time for the artists and also the corporations putting out the music to allow a new, fresh breath of inspirational, motivational music to participate. And what I mean by that is, when we came along, when Run DMC came along, we got turned down by every label. In the beginning, hip-hop was just considered black ghetto music. And nobody thought it was going anywhere. But it started to go somewhere because those young brothers and sisters from the black ghetto started talking about history, started talking about politics, started talking about education, started talking about what this panel today is about, the positive things that's going on in the community. If we would start letting the world know how powerful that positivity is, we would start to see a change in those communities.
Big time. This is Street Soldiers, our 7th annual Push for Peace. We'll be back right after this.
Music alone is a soundtrack to people's lives. So to be a part of that,
This is a dream come true.
Welcome back to Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. This is our 7th annual Push for Peace Town Hall here at Brooklyn Borough Hall, and we got a panel for you. Enuff, let me ask you, what do you think about this whole idea of how far it's come?
It's amazing. I love it. Hip-hop saved my life. I'm glad I'm here. I chose to follow my dreams, and, you know, I'll be honest with you, my parents, I had great parents growing up, so I was lucky. My mom always said, chase your dreams. My dad was very old school, blue collar, was like, what are you doing? What? Playing music, huh? You know, my dad was a sanitation guy / firefighter, so he was like, you work hard, you get paid, and that's how you do your thing. So for me, playing records and you know, hanging around break dancers and graffiti, and he was like, what are you doing? But you know, now, you know, 40-something years later, he's like, I'm so proud of you. Hip-hop is just amazing, because think about, if that's my story, there's jobs for everybody in hip-hop, you know, so there's journalism, there's radio, there's, you know, you can actually perform, there's engineers, there's camera guys, like, there's production, there's all kinds of jobs that are in hip-hop. And since we are the leading genre in music in the world, that means there's more money.
In the world.
There's opportunities for everybody.
Definitely, there is opportunity for, and you brought up journalism, and so Mia, give us a sense, because we're talking about how big it is and how far it's come. Is that just hype and because we feel good and love the music, or is that real?
I mean, we definitely feel good and love the music, but the numbers are there, and especially if you look at any of the streaming platforms, hip-hop is the genre people are listening to, and it's not just millions, we're talking billions of streams. And it's so funny because a lot of times you turn on like award shows or kind of, you know, look through like old school publications, they still kind of view hip-hop as this very niche genre. But, you know, I always tell people, like, it's not pop culture. Like, hip-hop is pop music, it's pop culture, it affects fashion and politics and food and lifestyle, it's everything. So it's really a cultural force. You know, it's not just music or something people are doing in New York or LA, it's global. Like, you can go to Japan and they're listening to hip hop, you can go anywhere. And I think that's, you know, if you talk about sort of American culture, I think one of the greatest exports is hip-hop culture, and it's touched people in languages they don't even speak English. They don't understand the lyrics to the music, but they know every Run DMC song, they know what Hot 97 is, and they live in Uzbekistan. You know what I mean? Like, it's a global cultural force.
Which is amazing, which is so amazing. Buddha, grab that mic there. I want to ask you about, you know, coming up in terms of opportunities, you know, what you came from, what you overcame, and
I mean,
how you got in the game.
Growing up in the Bronx was definitely a challenge, and that's the birthplace of hip hop. But just being, you know, residing in the 80s and 90s, you didn't have too much to look up to. So coming up, just even seeing hip hop programs in schools and see how influential the culture and the music is it's unbelievable. And I'm actually proud to be from New York and from the Bronx. You know, one of the poorest counties in the United States, but it also birthed this culture to have legends like DMC and Enuff able to kick down doors and provide opportunities for us to eat. And music alone is a soundtrack to people's lives. So to be a part of that is a dream come true. A total dream come true. Absolutely.
Jazzie, Belle, in terms of the women, because, you know, back in the day, it was like the female artists had to kind of be with a guy clique or a guy crew, or they had to be affiliated in some way, and that's changed a lot. What do you see happening with women in hip hop?
I'm happy to see where it's going right now, because like I said in the beginning, we had the Chirac, we had the Roxanne Shantays. Now fast forward, you got Cardi B, you got Nicki Minaj, you got Remy Ma, you got all of these rappers, female rappers that's coexisting in a space right now together. When back then, that wasn't the case. So I love what it's doing. I love what it's doing with Remy Ma. I love what it's done for Queen Latifah. And there's nothing greater to see a woman on TV that represents what I look like, represents a voice unapologetically, represents strength, in a male-dominated field. So I love women in hip-hop. I grew up with 7 brothers in a household, and when I look at hip-hop, I look at the women in it, and they set a great example for me.
Pressure. In terms of the music that influenced you and what's influencing what you're doing right now that is so hot here, tell us about that.
Yes, I mean, I love music. I just felt like, you know, that was my way of expressing myself and letting the people know that it's okay to be down, and you know, it's a mood thing, you know. So, you know, again, music saved my life. You know, it changed my life. You know, the last year alone, like this 1 year, just been so magical. I've been all over, you know, United States. You know, and it's a blessing. But you know, I just I just want to touch on what DMC touched on, what about the educational thing. Like, you know, music. I always try to let the kids, I do things for the kids. I use music to influence kids. Like a lot of people on the neighborhood, I would tell them things a year before I made it, like, oh, listen, stay in school and do this, but now my voice is more powerful, you know what I'm saying? So now when the next video? And I'm like, yeah, next video is next week, but how's school? You know, are you playing any sport? You know, so I'm using my fame just to spread the word and letting these kids know, stay in school. They really think I'm a cool guy, and I said, listen, I'm just here to inspire. I tell people all the time, like inspire or retire, you know, so I'm just using my voice.
Inspire or retire, I love that, all right. This is Street Soldiers, our special town hall push for peace from Brooklyn Borough Hall. We'll be back right after this. How about some questions and comments from the audience? Okay, here we go. What's your first name?
Gia.
Gia, and do you have a question or comment?
Question.
Okay.
How can we encourage rap to be more positive, being that it inspires so many?
Oh, excellent question. Okay. DMC? Jazzie, you want to take that?
The first thing that came to mind was, you guys have more power than you think. But what these guys rap about and what you guys take heed to is important. So y'all support the music. I think it's up to the people, the consumers, to say, this is what we want. Tell us what you want to hear. Tell the rappers what it is you're going through and what you want to hear.
You had a question? Stand up, please, and tell us your name.
My name is Dean. My question is for underground artists. Even though we have our Kendrick Lamar and J. Cole, it's really hard to succeed because mainstream labels and a lot of them are looking for negative things. So, you know, growing up around many artists, I see many of them trying to, because for me, like hip hop, like right now it's devolving in terms of ability. So if you look at the 80s, from Run DMC, Public Enemy, P. Rock, CL Smooth, to Nas, Jay-Z, Eminem, the rhyme schemes, the substance, the music was evolving. But now, like in the mainstream charts, we have like other mumble rappers and everything, and now it's hard to become as successful when you have substance behind your music and a lot of people want you to dumb down.
Okay, you know what, we're up against the clock a little bit. You have 2 questions. Let me get Buddha on the underground artist, and then I want to get DMC on what you're saying about how he sees the current skills. Buddha.
2 things I would say, maybe 3. Accountability. There's lack of accountability from both parts. You usually hear the artists get a lot of flack for what's being out there, but there's censorship, and a lot of these corporations are allowing a lot of this negative message, and they're exploiting it.
To all artists, up and coming, present now, the guys in the States now, you gotta understand something. If you're a rapper that makes a record about a gun, it's cool. This ain't about censorship and freedom of speech. This is about genocide and homicide. The very next record needs to be a song about not using a gun.
Right.
But we don't get that no more.
Right.
We get a bunch of records and songs about using a gun, which is a situation that exists. Like I always tell rappers, yo, not everybody goes to the strip club. So can't you make a record?
You're kidding me.
Yeah, all right. But you know, make a record about your aunt who put 3 kids through college and none of them went to jail and stuff like that. Those things make dynamic records. Tell your story, but then tell another story that can really make things change the very next day.
Take it to the next level. Take it to the next level. All right, this is Street Soldiers. I'm your host, Lisa Evers. This is our special Push for Peace Town Hall. We'll be right back after that. Some questions and comments from the audience. We got a question or comment? What's your first name?
Yes, how you doing? Jack Doe. How you doing? I'm a media personality, so I know some of the kind of industry insider. I remember at times when our community had like turmoil, and there was a time where in music where the artists came together as a collective, and they came up with a song some of y'all may not know called Self-Destruction. Now, what? Oh, yeah. So what do you feel? I know about the egos and everything. What would it take for this to happen again? And also, DMC, why you wasn't on that record?
Good question. On self-destruction, wow, good question.
Okay.
I think no, we should have been on it, but I think we was on tour at the time.
Okay, well, how about a question or comment? Because we only have a couple minutes.
Okay, and this is for Jazzie. Speaking of women in hip hop, yes. I think it's disgusting right now that Remy and Nicki is going back and forth. Like, back in the days, it was, you know, LL Cool J and, you know, everybody else going back and forth. You know, that was kind of cool. But right now, I think the women, I think they just reaching, and it's just like for likes and, you know, advertisement and attention. And I think that is disgusting. What do you think about it?
Real quick.
Yeah, that's a two-part answer I have, because I understand why you say it's disgusting, because as women, I'm all for women empowerment. And it's hard to say that and still enjoy, in a sense, the essence of hip hop, where it was all about freestyling and battle rapping. You understand what I'm saying? So I don't necessarily think it's too disgusting, because I like for women to be held to the same standards as these men in hip hop. We're not gonna always get along. As much as I would love to get along with you, it doesn't happen. You know what I mean? But so
if the guys can be, why can't the ladies? Let's take a special comment. Thank you, Jazzie. Sorry, I had to sum it up in new style. What's your first name?
It's William.
And your question or comment?
Earlier today, DMC, you mentioned that it's important for companies to make a fresh breath of inspirational music.
Yes.
This question's for everyone. In what ways has companies been opening that door for that kind of music, and are there any ways in which they can improve or build on that?
Well, Ice-T told me something very powerful many years ago, and I've been in this business a long time. Here in America, sex and violence sells. Here in America, negativity is used as a false sense of power, because it seems that it's exciting and it's powerful and it's dominant and it's disrespectful. So everything that is negative is what this entertainment industry is built on when you think about it from an entertainment standpoint. But also, we at a time right now where we don't need to depend on the corporations, because we can create our own works of art and control ourselves what we put out. So it falls down on the individual. There should be no excuses. Now, that being said, if you are signed to a record deal and you're the artist that they paid a lot of money to and they depend on you to give them what they signed you for, that's all cool. But it's up to you to say, before I take this check, I'll give you what I want, but I want y'all to give me what I need for my people. Like when Chuck D said, I like Nike, but wait a minute, the neighborhood supports them, put some money in it. It's cool to come put a basketball court in the abandoned park, but why don't you take them dollars and invest it into the educational system? So we need to take control of where the money goes that we are getting.
All right, we're almost out of time. We just want to acknowledge Hip Hop Gamer, who's always supported us here. Real quick, you got 10 seconds.
Yeah, real quick. So my question's for Buddha. Love all y'all. You already know. My question for Buddha. A lot of y'all may not know that he lost his mom, but a lot of times in loss, we find positive moments. And a lot of times in loss, we find growth. How have you found growth in what you do, and how do you spread that across everyone?
Buddha, you got 20 seconds.
Okay. First and foremost, love is free. It doesn't cost anything.
All right, and on that note, love is free. Push for peace. Make music, make love, not war. And I want to thank you for coming out for this special Push for Peace Town Hall from Brooklyn Borough Hall. I'm Lisa Evers, and say it with me. Remember, use your mind. It's your best weapon. I hope it's your only weapon, and let's push for peace.